Hi guys, my name is Nicola, 33, female. I was born into the dual world of Germany and America, juggling two different cultures from the get-go. My mom, being German, meant I spent more time in Deutschland since my parents decided they were better off apart. At 23, I made the bold choice to plant my roots permanently in the States, simply because I wanted to understand this part of my culture better. Plus, I wanted a chance to meet all these celebrities. A girl can dream, right? Now, let's talk about my accent. Picture this. It's quite thick. It made me a bit of an oddball in the cultural melting pot, and the struggle to fit in was real. To go through this, I decided to hit the books, languages to be precise. I figured if I could smooth out my conversational edges, life would be a tad simpler. So I enrolled in college and took languages as my course. College was where everything changed. Enter Terence, the charismatic TA in my course. Sure, there were some flirtations here and there, but we knew better than to tread on the forbidden ground of student-teacher entanglements. We, mainly me, went for the mature route, see other people and keep things kosher. Let's just say the heart wanted what it wanted. As soon as I tossed my graduation cap into the air, I was 26 at the time, a text from Terence pinged on my phone. It was one of those heartfelt messages where he spilled his guts out, confessing he'd never met anyone like me and wanted to see if there was more to us. He was begging me to give him a chance. My smitten heart skipped a beat. An American guy wanted me for me, and it felt like the universe was cutting me some slack for a change. After dating for 2 years, Terence threw me a curveball by popping the question. It was like time just paused and I was hit with this wave of joy. He showed me what it meant to really live and be alive. Terence wasn't just my boyfriend, he was my everything. Our wedding day is stuck in my head like a favorite song. I can still hear his promises to be my anchor and the sunshine in my life. I was all in, ready to face life's ups and downs with this amazing man. I stood there looking into Terence's eyes as he began to speak his vows. He certainly had a way with words. I mean, go figure, right? He did teach languages. Nicola, from the moment our paths crossed, my life has been a beautiful symphony. Your laughter is the melody that dances through my days, and your love is the harmonious tune that serenades my heart. My eyes welled up with tears, and I knew at that moment that I was making the right choice. I promised to cherish every sunrise and sunset with you, to be the anchor in your storms and the sunlight in your brightest days. With you, I found my home, my partner, and my best friend. Today, I vow to stand by your side through all the chapters of our extraordinary adventure. Nicola, you are my greatest adventure, my confidant, and my forever. I promise to love you, honor you, and cherish you for all the days of our lives. I swear, from the corner of my eye, I could see all the women swooning. He was just so charming and so amazing. I often found myself asking, what's the catch? Well, soon enough, I found out exactly what the catch was. We were married for around a year when I started picking up on some red flags. Maybe we were just getting tired of each other, or maybe I finally took off those rose-tinted glasses. Whatever it was, we started getting on each other's nerves. I was frustrated because he was never around. Always off on those supposed business trips that just didn't add up. I mean, how can a regular guy have 3 out-of-town business trips in the same week? Hey, Terence, can we talk? What's up? I've been feeling like we're kind of drifting apart lately. Oh, this is just great. You know how my work goes. Being a TA is a tiring job. I've been swamped with work, Nicola. Can't you understand that? It's not like I'm off having a blast. I get it, Terence, but we're married and it feels like you're avoiding me. I just want us to be on the same page. I want you to know that I'm hurt by this. You're always pressuring me, Nicola. Can't you see I'm trying my best here? I'm not trying to pressure you. I just want us to figure this out together. I miss us, Terence. Well, maybe if you backed off a bit, I wouldn't feel so suffocated. I've got things to handle, and your constant nagging isn't helping. This is important to me, Terence. I thought it would be important to you too. Yeah, well, maybe you're expecting too much. I've got to go. We'll talk later or whatever. I almost couldn't believe that the man who sounded like Shakespeare at my wedding was speaking to me like this now. It was fishy, and yes, before you badger me, I had my suspicions. Of course, I thought, is he cheating on me? I didn't want to accept it at first, but my Mutter didn't raise a punk, so I decided to get down and dirty and begin my sleuthing work. I honestly deserve a medal for all the work I did. I snooped around his phone, emails, even bank statements, but there was nothing. No evidence to back up my suspicions. I felt like I was going crazy. I was so puzzled. Where on earth was he going, if not off to cheat on me? I decided that if I wanted real answers, I had to ask the source. Sneakily, of course. I decided to play it smart, you know. I didn't want him to catch on to my little investigation, so I started asking casual questions about his trip. Just dropping them into our everyday conversations like it was no big deal. But every time I asked, he had some slick excuse. Oh, just a last-minute meeting. Sorry, babe. Or, there are some rich people from Dubai who want my teaching services, and they're a tough crowd to please, so I gotta build rapport and get on their good side. You know how it goes. It all sounded fishy, but without hard proof, I couldn't exactly call him out. I knew it would blow up into a big thing. It reached a point where I started to doubt myself. Maybe I was being paranoid or reading too much into things. But deep down, my gut feeling told me something was off. I couldn't shake that nagging suspicion that he was up to something shady. Another year passed, and Terence's distance grew even more noticeable. It felt like I was closer to my girlfriends than to my husband, which just shouldn't be the case in a marriage. I always dreamed of marrying my partner in crime, my best friend, but with each passing month it felt more like I was married to a stranger. I eventually stopped complaining about him never being home. Instead, I decided to grab his attention by showing him what he was missing out on. Every time he left, I would post pictures of me looking cute, having fun and hanging out with my friends. He complained about it, texting me saying I wasn't giving him a good look and that I was being too rowdy. Whatever, man. He was making it seem like I was hoeing around when in reality he just couldn't handle how good I was looking. But I didn't care. I was living my best life. Now, you all should know I did not and do not have children. And I never wanted to either. Terence knew about this, and it was one of the things we adamantly agreed on. So imagine my surprise when one day after his business trip he came home and said we should have kids. I was like, hold up. Did you just teleport into an alternate reality or something? I was convinced there was a glitch in the matrix. But no, he was dead serious. His reasoning? It's what couples do, babe. We build a family together. I thought I was gonna choke on my own spit. We had discussed this countless times, and now he was pulling 180 on me? What in the world was going on? I asked him if he was feeling okay, thinking maybe he hit his head during one of those business trips. But no, he insisted that he'd had a change of heart and wanted mini-me's running around the house. I wasn't having it. I told him straight up. We agreed on this, Terence. What's going on? Are you going through a midlife crisis or something? I know, but am I not allowed to change my mind? Of course. You can change your mind on your Panera order or something, but not when it comes to kids, Terence. I thought we were on the same page. How long have you been feeling this way? Honestly, since we were dating. What? Why didn't you say anything? Because I knew how you'd react. Well, would you prefer I kill you now or later, Terence? Oh, stop it, Nicola. I'm trying to have a serious conversation with you. So am I. This changes everything. No, it doesn't. Look, I've been thinking about it more and more, and, well, it seems like a pretty good solution for your boredom. Boredom? Terence, do you think I'm being complaining for the past 2 years because I was bored? I miss you. I miss the US. I'm not bored. I just want to spend some time with my freaking husband. A kid isn't going to fix or change anything. Honestly, it might just make things worse. That's what you say, but I know plenty of women who are happy having children. Then maybe you should have married one of them. Why drag me into this if you knew that you wanted to have kids? Hey, calm down. It was just a suggestion, all right? Didn't really sound like a suggestion 2 minutes ago. Just drop it, okay? Forget I said anything. I have to go. What? You just got here. I just came to drop off my bags. I have to go to the office and grade papers. Well, when are you gonna be back? 2, maybe 3 a.m.? Unbelievable! And that, my friends, was the beginning of the end. The kid bomb he dropped hit me like a ton of bricks. I mean, seriously? We talked about this so many times, and not once did he ever express an inkling of doubt about our decision to be happily child-free. It was like he flipped a switch and I was left feeling utterly turned off by the person I thought I knew. As the months crawled by, our marriage turned into a disaster. I was growing more and more distant, just like him. And sticking around felt like signing up for a front row seat at a daily shit show. 4 years of this nonsense was my limit. So I did what any sane person would do. I dropped the D-word bomb and slid those divorce papers across the table one night after dinner. I was tired, so damn tired, of trying to salvage something that was clearly sinking. I'd be damned if I'd keep pouring love into a relationship where I was getting nothing back. And you know what happened? Suddenly, Mr. Not So Sure About Kids became Mr. Waterworks. Now he's crying and begging for me to stick around, claiming he can change, that things will be different. But honey, talk is cheap, and at that point, I was ready to cash out. It was honestly mind-boggling. This guy who had been emotionally missing in action for who knows how long suddenly broke down at the mention of divorce. It was like I flipped a switch, and now he was the one desperate to hold on. I couldn't help but roll my eyes at the theatrics. It was way too late for Waterworks. I'd been begging for emotional connection for years, and all I got was radio silence. Now, when I wanted out, he decided to put on a show. He wasn't begging for me. He was begging for the idea of me. The idea of having a wife, a companion, someone to fill the space next to him. Not because he genuinely cared about me or the relationship he had. But obviously, at the time, my stupid brain didn't know that, so guess what I did? I stayed. I forgave him, and I stayed. I laid it out plain and simple for Terence. If he wanted me to stick around, he had to show some genuine love and compassion. Honestly, I wasn't holding my breath because promises had been made before and they turned out to be as reliable as a broken clock. But surprise, surprise, he actually started to deliver. Terence became more thoughtful, around more often, and the spark that had fizzled out was reignited. I found myself thinking, there's my man. He was back and I couldn't have been happier. Fast forward to our 5-year anniversary and Terence was going all out. He made it a point to leave work early to whisk me away to this special restaurant he was raving about. I was over the moon with excitement. The restaurant had this dreamy ambience that transported you to another world. Apparently, one of his co-workers introduced him to the joint, and it was slowly becoming my favorite place. We were having a great time, chit-chatting away, when our waitress decided to make her grand entrance. Now, this girl had been unusually familiar with us the entire night. She lingered at our table, laughing, joking with Terence, and I couldn't help but notice her glances our way. Call it a bit of jealousy, but mostly I was left wondering, why was she all up in our business? Terence, why is our waitress so comfortable with us? What? I hadn't noticed. Actually, come to think of it, she's mainly comfortable with you. Babe, you're being ridiculous. She's just super friendly. Okay, if you say so. Can we please go back to enjoying our dinner? Okay, fine. Just when I said that, I saw the girl coming over to our table. Hey there, how are you two lovebirds tonight? Sabine, we're fine. Just give us a moment. Sabine? That's my name, ma'am. Terence? Sabine, thank you so much for tending our table, but I think we're all good here. How does she know your name? Oh, that's because I know his Sabine, I said we're fine. Thank you so much for everything. But I haven't even read the special dessert menu for you two. It's okay. We'll have the cheesecake. Actually, I'd like to hear about the dessert menu. Please, Sabine? My pleasure, ma'am. She went on to tell us what was on the menu, and I noticed that my husband looked like he was sweating through his shirt. And finally, we have the malva pudding, which is to die for. Terence knows all about it. Right. That will be all, Sabine. Thanks once again for everything. You can go now. Right away, sir. And I hope I don't come off as too forward when I say this, but I'm really going to miss seeing you and your little tyke coming in on the weekends. Whenever you guys are around, this whole place lights up. Terence started to choke on his water, and I almost had to check my ears to see if I was hearing right. Little tyke? What the hell are you talking about? Now the waitress girl looked confused. His kid, TJ, right? Oh, Terence, you have a kid. I can explain. Oh, I see that I've made a huge mistake. No, quite the contrary. You seem to know a lot about Terence, so please, why don't you go ahead and explain what you know? I think I'm needed in the kitchen. Sit down and tell me everything you know. Sabine immediately took a seat when I told her to. She spilled the beans on Terence, revealing that he's been having an affair for the past 5 years, pretty much our entire marriage. He had a whole family outside of our life together, and no one was the wiser. Her name is Shannon, and she's my boss, sister, so they would normally come in on the weekends for dinner. Terence, on the other side of the table, was shaking. If it wasn't for the restaurant's ambient music and laid-back vibes, I swear I would have jumped across and wrung his neck with my cold, dead hands. Terence attempted to get Sabine to shut up, but I began speaking in German. I figured with a name like Sabine, she had some German roots. My assumption was correct, and she responded in German, spilling even more details. What the hell are you two saying? Sabine, stop it right now. I swear to you, I had no idea that he was cheating. He's never mentioned you or anything. How could he? He's a lying, dirty scumbag. I'm so sorry you had to find out this way. What else do you know? Turns out almost every weekend for the past 5 years, Terence and his secret family, including a kid named TJ, would come to this restaurant. Little TJ apparently charmed everyone with his goofy antics. Sabine, genuinely oblivious to any issues, spilled everything she knew. She mentioned they were planning to move, hence her comment about missing them. Sabine looked like she was on the verge of tears by the time she finished her tale. I thanked her, waved her off, and then stared directly at my husband, who was now beet red. I want to go home. Nicola, please. Terence, the only word I want to hear from you right now is yes. If I get anything other than that, I'm going to scream. Okay, calm down, okay? Let's go home and sort this out. The drive home was dead silent, of course. Terence tried to speak and explain himself, but I shut him an "if you dare" type of look, which quickly shut him up. When we got home, I bolted. I made my way to our bedroom, shut and locked the door behind me. Terence followed me, banging on the door and asking if we could talk, but I wasn't about to let him in. He probably thought that I wasn't going to let him sleep in the bed that night. Well, he was in for something much worse. I can tell you that. I needed my revenge. It was like I was on autopilot. I wanted the rage I was feeling to come to life, so I started by taking all of his work, documents, including some important papers the college had lent him, with some documents dating back to the 1900s, and set them ablaze. Then I got to work on his clothes, burning them too. I found all of his collectibles he used to collect anime cards, I think they're called Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and action figures, and set those on fire as well. Basically anything and everything he held near and dear to his heart was going to get a taste of the lighter I held in my hand. Terence began to smell the smoke, and he started banging even harder, yelling for me to get out. I didn't want to suffocate, of course, so after a short while, when I made sure everything was getting nice and toasty, I opened the door. He was shocked to find the room turning into a scene from hell, and he started yelling at me. "What the hell, Nicola? Are you insane?" "Maybe. Look, I get it. You're mad, but burning my things? Was that really necessary? How the hell am I going to explain this?" "You could tell your boss the truth. Tell him that the reason you don't have his documents is because you double-crossed your wife." "You burned my documents too? What the hell?" He tried to run inside, but now the flames were a little too fierce. He started cursing and punching the wall. "I could sue you for this." "You could, but you won't." "Oh yeah? Tell me a good reason why I wouldn't." "Because if you do, I'm going to expose your little affair." "Newsflash, sweetheart. Having an affair isn't illegal. Destroying someone's property is." "You're right. But how would you feel knowing that little TJ would have a sorry excuse for a father? Think about it, Terence. You'll be a pariah. A broke, sad, miserable pariah. Your son will grow up hating you because of what you pushed me to do." "Nicola, you're crazy." "Yeah, and you're an asshat." "Just wait till I call the cops on you." "Do it." "I dare you." Your house is on the verge of burning down as we speak, and you're worried about me? You've got the wrong priorities, my friend. You're lucky I didn't do much worse. I could have waited for you to fall asleep and set you on fire instead, but I don't believe children should grow up without their fathers, so this was the next best thing. You're a monster. You made me this way. All those years of fighting for us, and you were out there whoring around. What happened to those beautiful vows, huh? What happened to keeping your promises? You lied to me, and you expect me to be calm about it? I'm sorry, Nicola. Please don't do this. I'll call the fire department and tell them it was my fault. We can fix this. I'm done. Call the department if you want to. You can even put the blame on me. But just know that if you do, I'll ruin your life. You already have. I'm going to be jobless after tonight. Oh, boo-hoo. I feel so bad for you. You made my life miserable, and for what? Just so you can live out your fantasy of having two lives? This isn't Hannah Montana, Terence. Is that why you wanted me to have kids 2 years ago? Because you thought that I'd be too busy to notice you on your escapades? You make me sick, Terence. I'm getting out of here before I die of smoke inhalation. And remember those divorce papers I gave you last year? You can find those in the kitchen drawer. I hope you have a miserable life, you sorry excuse for a man. Terence kept calling after me as I grabbed my keys, but I wasn't listening. I made my way to the door and drove in my car for what felt like hours with no real place to go. Terence kept calling and texting, saying that the fire was now out of control and the fire department was taking too long to arrive, but I didn't bother responding. I ended up spending the night in a hotel. When I woke up in the morning, I got a lovely update from my husband. Turns out that the fire was too out of control, and since the firefighters were delaying due to some accident that was blocking the road, the fire had spread and it had damaged more than the bedroom. It spread to the bathroom and the living room, which I know would cost a fortune to repair. Terence ended up losing his job, his wife, and part of his house all in one night, and he was about to lose much more. I know I said I wouldn't reveal the truth to his other family if he went to the cops to tell them what I did, but I don't care. Terence is a wuss. He's not going to do or say anything. Besides, there's no proof that it was me who set the stuff on fire. So I'm just chilling. I am already in the works of getting Shannon's contact details from Sabine so that I can tell her everything. because she deserves to know. That'll teach that rat to mess with me.